Hey, everybody. J Real here with my buddy Brandon. And it is March, what is today? The 5th?
The fifth.
March the 5th, 2025. I have to catch up here. And yeah, and we're going to talk about some made for TV stuff. We'll talk about the definition of that before we get started with that. But our last show, we talked about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series. And of course, fans of the original, one of the most famous lines in the film is when they pick up that hitchhiker, old Ed Neal, and he's going on about the slaughterhouse where his family works, and all that, and cutting up the meat and how they kill the cows. The modern methods. Where they kill them these days, that's no good. The old fashioned way of killing the cows, that's the best way. But anyway, he says, and he brings up head cheese. It's where basically this whatever's left on the slaughterhouse floor, they throw into the grinder, and that becomes head cheese. Now that's probably oversimplifying it. It's I'm sure it's, but that's kind of the it's the ligaments and everything. Just throw it in there, the ears and the tongue and everything. And my daddy liked head cheese. He would buy it. Now, used to you could just go to the local grocery store like Safeway and buy head cheese, but I think you have to kind of seek it out more these days. But the reason why I bring it up is because Brandon is show him, Brandon.
Damn, the cat wants that head cheese. You hear?
And the cat, yeah, the cats want it. But that everyone that has heard about head cheese or heard the hitchhiker talk about head cheese have never seen it, certainly have never tasted it, but there it is. That is
if you want to feel fancy, the British call it souse.
Souse. And he's chomping into it. Describe the flavor and the smell.
Vinegar, pork. It kind of like pickled pig's feet, kind of. It smells like, and it's like eating gel, kind of. It's like eating jelly.
Well, there's kind of like a gelatin base that kind of holds all the meat bits together, right?
Mm-hmm. It's good shit. You just got to get past the look and the smell.
So it's got sort of a sour sort of taste.
Yeah, well, this is a spicy one, so it kind of tastes like hot sauce. Kind of reminds me of like sardines in a weird way.
Well, there you go. Head cheese. So all these years when you've heard the hitchhiker talk about head cheese, but you probably have never seen it, wouldn't know it if you saw it. And there you go. That is head cheese.
Yep, I think it should be our state food.
My daddy liked head cheese, and I think he would get it at the local grocery store. But Kathy says it wasn't that simple. That actually had to do some traveling. That there was a place in Waco that sold meats and stuff. And that's where he would get his head cheese. And Mama wouldn't let him keep it in the refrigerator at the house because of the smell, and it would like permeate and make everything else smell bad. So he made him wrap it up and take it to the store where he worked and keep it in the refrigerator there.
There used to, that store Community Grocery, they used to have it and they would slice it. But I guess I was the only one buying it, so they got rid of it. And there was a girl working behind the counter. And I'm like, I want some head cheese. And they're like, we have cheddar and stuff. I'm like, nah, it's in the back. It's right there. I buy it all the time. And she's like, ew, what the hell is this?
But yeah, it and like I say, if you can get past the smell, and I guess it has having sort of a gelatin base. It's kind of a soft sort of
Yeah.
consistency. But hang on here just a minute. Let me do a quick Google about head cheese. Okay. Head cheese, or brawn, Brawn, is a meat jelly or terrine made of meat. Somewhat similar to a jellied meatloaf, it is made with flesh from the head of the cow or pig, less commonly a sheep or cow, typically set in aspic. It is usually eaten cold at room temperature or in a sandwich. Despite its name, the dish is not a cheese and contains no dairy products. The parts of the head used vary and may include the tongue, but not commonly include the brain, eyes, or ears. Trimmings from more commonly eaten cuts of pork and veal are often used, and sometimes the feet and heart, with gelatin added as a binder. There you go. So
they're to put an eyeball in there from the cow or the pig, and have that looking at you while you eat it.
Well, it probably has there's probably a couple of eyes in there, and tongue. Imagine tongue is in there.
Yeah.
Ears, but particularly if it's poultry or pigs, not poultry but pigs, yeah. But yeah, there you go. There's the infamous head cheese.
Head cheese, yeah.
And you might want to go and sample some. Now,
I recommend it. It's good.
Yeah. You mentioned Pickles pig's feet. My daddy would get that too and keep that in the fridge. And sometimes I would eat Pickles pig's feet with him. But it's just mostly fat. It's kind of a knuckle bone or something like that. And it's got this gelatinous kind of stuff that kind of binds and there's a little bit of meat, but it's a lot of fat. Pickles pig's feet.
Yeah.
But I would eat that sometimes with my daddy, just as a bonding ritual. Something to eat with daddy. I'd sometimes eat the Pickles pig's feet, but I didn't eat the head cheese. I think it was the smell. I couldn't get past the smell. At least as a kid, I couldn't. I'd give it a try now. I'll try anything now. But yeah. But there you go, head cheese, and Brandon's enjoying that.
I am. It's good.
For most people, it would be a dare food. I dare you to try. I dare you to eat this. But for Brandon, it's not.
Damn, it's good shit. I wonder what the hitchhiker's head cheese in theirs was like. Damn. Pretty good.
Yeah. Head cheese. But as far as the subject for tonight, now I'm old. I'm 59. So I come from the days where you had three networks. You had ABC, NBC, and CBS. And, PBS station. So basically you had 4 channels to watch, unless you went to UHF, and found some some channels like that. But for the most part, you had 3 networks and PBS. And so the definition of made for TV is movies that were made to play on network television. Of course, these days, pretty much everything's made for TV. A movie will play in a theater for like a week and then it's available for streaming. Sometimes it's available for streaming on the day of release, the same day they put it in the theaters. So it's pretty much everything's made for TV these days, with all the streaming stuff. But back in the day, what I've got on my list here is movies that were made specifically to air on television, probably 7 or 8 o'clock, movie of the week or things like that. And I'm concentrating mainly on horror stuff and suspense and that kind of stuff. And what I did, I found a list of IMDb's top, I think, like 100 made-for-TV horror films. And I went to Tubi, and I tried to find everything on the list that's available to watch on Tubi. And watching stuff that I hadn't seen before. Now, I've got some classic stuff here that a lot of people will recognize, But I tried to watch some things that I hadn't seen before. So that's a lot of what I'm going to bring up on the list here. But I'll let you start. And this is just, we can definitely do more than one episode of this talking about made for TV
There's
stuff.
so many of them.
Yeah, this is just throwing some suggestions out and what we thought about them and stuff like that. But anyway, get us started.
Well, one of my favorite ones was is called Daughter of the Mind, and it's about this dude. His daughter's dead, and the ghost is contact. It's really sad. It's a horror. I guess it's a horror movie, but it's technic. The ghost isn't bad, you know. It's kind of like that movie, The Changeling, and it's real sad because the little girl's like, "Daddy, I hate being dead," and all kinds of. It really tugs on your heartstrings, you know. And then the twist at the end of the movie is just like a. It's real. It sucks and it's real sad. I'm like, damn, I feel bad for that dude. So, I mean, if you feel bad for little kids, that's one to watch, and a grieving, you know, parent. But you know, it's pretty good. It's just one of those ones that I had to watch it on YouTube because you can't find it nowhere. So it was like a copy of a VHS tape that was watched like a million times. So like if Scream Factory or something could get that, that would be pretty cool.
Oh,
Because you know, it's just kind of hard to watch a movie that's like the tape been watched like a million times. So when you're watching it, it's like you can see what's going on, but at the same time, it's just a beat up tape. You know,
it's all yeah. And what's the title again?
Daughter of the Mind.
Daughter of the Mind. I don't even think I've heard of that. I have to look that up.
Yeah, it's a real good movie. Like I said, it's a. I mean, it's technically a horror film, but it's more kind of like a drama too, and like dealing with lost. You know.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, I'll start with one, and it's the first time I'd ever seen it. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. And let me do a see what the year is. And it's a BBC movie, made for TV movie. It's called Threads. But hang on. And pretty much everything I'm going to bring up here is on Tubi, available on Tubi. But this is 1984. And I don't know if you'd really call it a horror film, but at the same time, it's like one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. But anyway, Thomas Fulford said it's an ABC movie of the week. I guess the Daughter of the Mind, maybe what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it was because you know when
Threads. Well, anyway, yeah, Threads. Well, anyway, I'm getting to that, Thomas.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, it's British. It's in a British country. And you meet this family, and there's this woman. She's pregnant. She's with child, and she's about to give birth soon. And it's filmed very much like a documentary, where they cut to news reports about how things aren't going well between like Russia and America. You know, there's some disagreements, and there's some fighting, and like some, you know, bombing of a facility, you know, or something like that. And so things aren't going well, you know. And I think Iran's involved in it, and things like that. But anyway, long story short, it leads to a nuclear war. And oh gosh, it's just, it is one of the most frightening movies I've seen recently. And you get to know these people, you know, the British family, so that when shit comes down, when the bombs fall, and you see the bombs, and you see, you know, the houses blowing up and people catching on fire and all that. Oh God, it's very well done. It's very effective, and it, like I say, it's shot like a documentary. So it feels very realistic. It feels, and then you know, you go, it goes by the years, and you get information on the screen about what happens when bombs fall. You know, you get a nuclear winter, crops won't grow, and of course the fallout, and people getting sick from fallout, and getting all the end of their skin, you know, getting all the skin of sores and stuff that appear on people, and get kind of cancers go up and things like that. Oh God, it's very gripping, and it is not a movie you want to go back to. Once you've seen it, it's like, oh, it just like rips your heart out, and it's just you're just at the end of it, you're just sort of exhausted because you've just gone through this very tragic, very uh, dismal thing, uh, following these people and people dying and getting sick, and like I say, the effect that all this fallout has on the earth, where crops won't grow and nuclear winter, and but anyway,
Yeah.
Threads.
Do you think maybe that's a good thing that movie came out? It might have prevented some bad shit from happening.
Well, I think it came out around the same time as that movie, The Day After, which was an American movie about a nuclear war. I remember watching
That's
that.
that's scary because that could happen.
Oh, well, that's why it's so scary, and it
Yeah.
seems like it's. I don't want to even say it. It seems more likely something like that might happen these days.
Yeah.
But anyway, let me catch up some conversation here. A friend said it was supposed to be very close to what would happen in a nuclear war. Um, and he's seen pieces of it. They tried to be accurate. Yeah, it seems like it's very accurate. They really go into detail about what would happen if this were to happen and bombs were to fall, and the effect it would have not only on people but on the earth itself. Um, and another one is On the Beach. It was a theatrical release. But hang on just a minute. Uh, and hey, Akers, is that you, ma'am?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing good. I'm here with Brandon.
Doing all right.
Oh, good, good, good. Yes, I was just listening to what you're saying, and the day after, very interesting one. One from 1996 is Rasputin.
Rasputin. I've heard of that.
Yes,
That's
and
a cool song.
yes, it's from the director of Last Exit to Brooklyn, which was with Jennifer Jason Leigh, and he also directed Body of Evidence, the Willem Dafoe and Madonna movie. But I highly recommend Rasputin. I would say probably like The Day After and that one would be two of my favorite of this topic.
And is Rasputin a made for TV movie?
Either that or HBO. Yeah, either that or HBO, I believe. Oh my gosh, this is so nerve-wracking. It's like a radio deal. I've never been on one of these. This is so exciting.
Well, now this.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, of course, you've joined us so many times on the show, and we're just hanging out. Yeah, don't be nervous by it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
With the weather last night, I thought nuclear storm or something was happening.
yeah. Well, where are you at, ma'am? What state are you in?
I'm in not Southern Nevada.
Oh, okay.
Eh, so one other one, Richard Crenna, 1992. Something like The Invaders or an Alien movie. This was right around the time that Sightings was getting popular. A TV program that would discuss aliens. So I, growing up as a young girl, just was so intrigued with Richard Crenna, and seeing him in this kind of role was very good. I like that one quite a lot too.
And what's the title of that one again?
I'll look that one up. Let's see if I can
Okay.
get the title on that.
Yeah, that nuclear stuff. That's the stuff that's realistic is what scares me.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe in ghosts and stuff too, but I guess it's less likely I'd maybe run into a ghost. I don't know. Met a
Well, what
couple.
scares me is, when you see how things look after a big attack or something like that, or after a big fire, and then you think about what it would look like with nuclear and how things are getting lately. It's very nerve-wracking, to say the least.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but anyway, that, like I say, it's not cheerful by any means. It's something you have to be in a certain mood for to watch it. But Threads, and you said Rasputin, the day after, just to show you how careful we need to be as just people on the planet Earth.
Oh yes, that's a great point, Jay. With Rasputin, it made me really think of these modern people, like what's going on with the how they create this cult of personality, and then it goes from there.
Yeah, I don't want to get into politics much, but if you ever have a conversation with the red hat people, it's like he's Jesus to them, so you can't get through.
Thomas asks, have you seen Crow Haven Farm? It's got Hope Lang, Paul Burke, and Lloyd.
Yes, indeed. Now, I wasn't sure if that was a television movie. I just had seen it in some other context. So, yes, it's a really interesting one. In fact, I would highly like to see that readapted or remade.
Well,
very interesting one.
With some of the TV movies that I watch, it's like it'd be nice if Screen Factory remaster them, because like some of it, if you find them on YouTube or something, it's like an old tape or something that somebody had that been, beat to hell.
For sure, yeah. You know what I liked is Day After had Gutenberg. I'm looking over the cast. It's Robards. Yeah, it's nice to see this nice composite of a cast, and they'd all be in movies and stuff in that era anyway. And yeah, let me just get that Richard Crenna one.
But anyway, he says it's on YouTube. It was this Crowhaven Farm. He says it's on YouTube, so I have to look that up. But no,
that might have been where I'd seen it. I thought I'd seen it like maybe like at a revival cinema, but I definitely enjoyed it. Now Richard Crenna, let's see if I can find that.
But anyway, while she's looking that up, Brandon, give us another title.
Oh, I always liked, we talked about it last time, was Duel, because I don't know if anyone ever been on the highway and been tailgated. I still get anxiety about that.
Yeah.
That's a classic. And of course, it's Steven Spielberg. At the time, Spielberg had done several TV episodes of different, show like Kojak, things like that. He would direct television episodes. But I think this is his first proper movie, Duel. And it was originally a made-for-TV movie, but I guess it did so well as a TV film, they actually released it into theaters. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I've got it on DVD. It's one that I'll watch like every year or so. I'll watch Duel. Yeah.
Oh, this one's Intruders. Intruders is the title, and it had Mayor Winningham as well. And then I'll go ahead and just say V, 1985, I believe. Maybe a mini-series, but possibly the best thing was the part one of V. So I would say Intruders and then V. But V was to launch a TV.
Wasn't Robert Englund in that too?
Robert Englund was.
Yes.
He played this kind of nerdy alien. Robert Englund.
Man, if you want to see a weird Robert Englund one, he played an albino in a film called Buster and Billy. Which that movie's almost impossible. That movie's impossible to find, but that's another good one that I had a bootleg DVD to where it's like, wow, this is a good movie, but the picture quality looks like shit.
Yeah, we always knew him before he was in Freddy or around that time. He was always in all these television programs. You'd see him pop up here and there. Oh yes, in V he make me laugh with
he was kind of a comedian. He's alien, but he's kind of a nerdy alien. He's kind of He didn't want to.
I like
people. He didn't want to make.
Yeah, they can't understand what he says, and then he falls in love with the woman. It was really nice. I like that.
But yeah, he's fun. He's fun in V. But anyway, Duel. Yeah, this is 1971. And it's Dennis Weaver. I grew up watching the old Gunsmoke show, and he played Chester on Gunsmoke. So I recognized it when I first saw the movie, and I saw it on television with my parents. And I said, "Hey, there's Chester." When I saw Dennis Weaver, but anyway, he's this guy. I mean, he's off on business or something like that, and I believe he's going home, or that's his intention, is to come home to his wife. And so he's in his car and he's driving down the road, and there's a diesel in front of him, and he's in the way, and he's kind of driving slow. And Dennis Weaver's got to play. He needs to get home, damn it. So he passes the diesel, and kind of, speeds up, passes this diesel. And the rest of the movie is this diesel truck chasing down Dennis Weaver. And I think this is the movie that got Spielberg the job for directing Jaws, because basically Duel is kind of like Jaws with a truck instead of a shark.
Well, yes, Universal produced the TV movie, so they were vetting people for that job because they had already received the galleys for Jaws, or knew that Peter Benchley was coming up with that. So there was a long process before he was able to qualify for that.
Yeah, and what was it? And he had put out he had released a movie too. What was that movie?
Sugarland Express.
Sugarland Express, yeah. But I think Duel. I think when they watched Duel, that was the job. They said, "Okay, here's the man for the job."
I was shocked when I found out it was a TV movie, because it's so well shot and it doesn't look like TV.
Yes, and I've heard now it was released internationally in theaters in at least Holland, and I'm not overly sure where else, because that's a good point. I had thought. I believe it was intended to go to some cinemas in America as well, but then, unproven, and they just decided this is better, because Sugarland Express did not perform well.
Yeah, but like say, you look at the way Duel is shot with this truck pursuing Dennis Weaver in his truck and running him down and all that, and the way that it's filmed is very similar to, you have those barrels that going through the water in Jaws and things.
Yeah.
The way that Jaws is filmed is very similar to the way you see Duel filmed, the action sequences. And it's it's very, very well done. Dennis Weaver's great, and it's just filmed great. I mean, it's it showed Spielberg's directing style and his what he could do behind the camera. Duel, but yeah, that's a great one. Duel, that's a classic.
Now he never worked with Dennis Weaver again, or as far as I know, but he never also worked with Goldie Hawn again. Do you think that would have been maybe good, that she could have been maybe the mother in E.T. or worked with him again in some other way?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a good point. She's in Sugarland Express. That's a good point. Yeah. But I'll bring up one here that I've seen this before, but it'd been forever since I've seen it. And this is Dead of Night.
Oh, wow.
And it's an anthology movie, made for TV movie, Dead of Night.
Awesome.
And this, let me pull it up because I want to get the year right of this.
Yes, this was available for rental in the early 90s. That's where I saw it first. So that's so interesting that it was TV first.
Yeah, 1977, and written by Richard Matheson, which did a lot of great, TV stuff.
Yes.
And, movie adaptations and stuff. But yeah, written, there's 3 stories. Oh
yes, this was great.
But anyway, yeah, Dead of Night, and the 3 stories. The first one is let me see. We get the who is it? It's Ed Begley Jr. and
yes,
he's a vintage car enthusiast. And he buys this 1926 Jordan Playboy, car. which was
So
wrecked.
beautiful.
And what it was, the way it was wrecked was there was an accident with a couple. I think they were married. They were about to get married, or they were married, and they wrecked the car, and both were killed. And so he that's the story behind this car. He buys the car, he restores it, he gets it to great working order. It looks great, and he goes for a drive. And while he's driving, it transports him back into the past, into the time when the car was new, basically. And he's transported back in this town, and he's what the hell? He's transported back in time, driving in this car. And I don't want to give away too much, because I want people. This is a really good one. I want you to look it up. It's on Tubi.
It really is.
But it's kind of very.
Ed Begley does so good. Yeah.
Yeah, Ed Begley Jr. is great, and it's got a very touching conclusion. This one tugged at my heart. It isn't a horror story. It's got some tension in it, but when you see the twist that comes at the end of it, it's like, oh, it kind of touched my heart. Oh, that was sweet. But anyway, but that first story is called Second Chance. And you'll see, if you watch it, you'll see why it's called that, Second Chance. But yeah, that was a really good one, that first story. Now
I like the second one too. It's got the guy from Magnificent Seven in it. Horst Buckles, or the German actor. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, Ed Begley's doing great. He was just in the Strange Darling movie. That was a really good one.
The second story in Dead of Night is called No Such Thing as a Vampire. This woman, she's asleep. She wakes up. She finds punctures in her neck, and she believes she's been bitten by a vampire.
I love this one.
Yeah, this one's got another kind of an interesting twist. This is more of a horror story, but it's got a good twist. It doesn't go in the direction you think it's going to go. When you see the conclusion, you go, "Oh, okay." You think maybe there might be a vampire stalking around. And maybe there is. I'm not going to say, because I don't want to spoil this for folks. I want you to look this up, Dead of Night. But yeah, No Such Thing as a Vampire. That's got a good twist to it too at the end that I really liked.
I don't think I've seen it since I'm like 8 or 9. I can almost remember it all. It's crazy.
Now, this might be my favorite of the movie, and this one is much more of a horror story. The third story, Bobby. And it's about a woman who had a son. It was 12, 13 years old, maybe younger than that. He drowned, and he's dead. And of course, she's mourning the death of her son. But she, when her husband's away, she does some sort of voodoo ritual to resurrect her son. She can't, I don't know, she has, amulets and things like that. And she says these words are supposed to conjure the dead, bring my son back. And her son does come back. At first, he's outside, he's all wet, says, "Mother, I'm cold." And then she lets him inside. And then slowly but surely, he starts to be kind of sinister, Bobby. And he starts playing, "Man, let's play hide and seek, Mommy." And he hides from her and stuff like that, And it gets more and more tense, where he's acting like he doesn't have good intentions, Bobby, the resurrected son. And this, to me, this is very similar in tone to the final story in Trilogy of Terror with that doll chasing Karen Black.
Yeah.
It's also written by the same man, Richard Matheson. He also wrote the trilogy of terror stories too, or he wrote that final story. I don't know if he wrote the other two, but he wrote that final story with the Zuni doll chasing Karen Black. And this one has a very similar feel to it. You know, also written by the same man, Richard Matheson. And it's got a similar tone to it, even though you've got a boy, you know, not a little doll, you got a boy, you know. And it's got an ending to it that kind of is like, you know, it. I thought the ending was effective. The ending is kind of shocking, and the ending is kind of like, oh, you know, kind of takes you back, you know, kind of gripping and kind of, I don't know about shocking. It's not really shocking, but it's got a good ending to it. But anyway, yeah, Dead.
Yes, and it's oh yeah, it's the same boy from Burnt Offerings. Have you seen that one, the Karen Black movie?
No, I've
Burnt
seen
Offering.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen
Yeah, yeah, Bobby from that. Yeah, with Oliver Reed and Betty Davis.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, yeah, look it up on Tubi. Dead of Night. Okay, who's next? Give me one.
Have y'all seen the one called Bad Ronald with the pervert hiding in the walls?
I really wanted to see that one again, but I couldn't find it streaming anywhere.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime for $5.99, but he ends up killing this little girl kind of by accident, and then the mom like hides him in the walls, and then she dies, and he's just kind of hanging out in the walls and peeping in on the people, and you know it's called Bad Ronald because you know he's a bad Ronald.
Yeah, that's a really good one, Bad Ronald. It's been a long time since I've seen Bad Ronald, but let's catch up here on what Thomas here says. Isn't it shocking? Has Alan Alda? He's a sheriff in a small town, and he's confronted with a rash of deaths of elderly people in his town. It turns out a stranger is killing them while they sleep.
Jesus.
Matheson also wrote the novel Stir of Echoes and I Am Legend. Yeah. You know, and of course, I Am Legend is where, you know, like The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price was adapted from that. George Romero has said that was a big influence on Night of the Living Dead, I Am Legend. And of course, they made a movie with Will Smith, I Am Legend. But that story, yeah, big influence on the zombie films, I Am Legend, you know.
Yeah, one I wanted to suggest was everyone knows there's been Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 with Walter Matthau, the old one, and then also with John Travolta. But there was one in 1998, a TV movie. I thought it was really well done. And I can't remember the cast offhand. But oh yes, Edward James Olmos was, I believe, playing the Robert Shaw role. Edward James Olmos playing the NYPD cop. So more of the, what would that be? The Walter Matthau, James Gandolfini or Denzel role. And Vincent D'Onofrio playing the Robert Shaw role. So kind of low budget, but good for what it was. Donnie Wahlberg and Richard Schiff as well, and Lorraine Bracco. So I kind of like sometimes when they remake a movie for television. And I'd have to also admit that I like the Rosemary's Baby sequel, like from 1978. Whatever Happened to Rosemary's Baby? That was
and you know
very campy, good fun.
Last Room. What was it? The room something room? What's the number? And I like that. I like that a prequel story that was come out.
Yes, yes, that was not bad either.
But anyway, this is
on Paramount Plus.
I didn't know they made that. The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. I never know they did a remake of that. So
yes, and then so oddly they'd make it 9 years later again. So,
well, if y'all want to talk about one that I really dislike that everyone loves, it's that '90s It.
Oh yeah.
Everyone loves that. The Tim Curry's the only good thing about that movie. I mean, it's kind of the shits. You know, I don't like it.
I like the stuff with the kids. I don't like the stuff with the adults, and it's the same with the modern remake the two movies that they put out recently. With
I'm just not. I guess I'm just not a fan of that story because I didn't like the remake ones either.
yeah, but
It's just
It leads to too many questions for me, Brandon. I agree with you.
but
I
it's
start
also just
thinking about what-
silly. Like his head turns
Yeah, what
into
is
a
this
dog
creature?
for some reason.
Yeah,
It just,
I mean, I like it more because I saw it when it was live and things like that. But yeah, it's more of a collector's item than like a great experience.
I'll never forget.
Uh,
My cousin had the tapes. It was 2 tapes because it was long. Oh, it's so scary. Oh my god! And even as a little kid, I was like, this kind of sucks. And this is terrible. And then, like at the end, he's a crab or something or a spider, and it's just like, yeah, this is terrible. And then, like,
is
it's
it
like
cheating? Sorry.
that
and then his
second,
head just turns into a dog. He sees that guy in the institution, and for some reason, he turns into a dog. And I don't get it. It's just silly. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Where is this creature throughout time? It just can come through the subway. It's different thing, or what is that? The gutter and all that. Not the subway.
Wouldn't he take over
Anyway.
the world or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So, I have a lot of opinions about Mr. King.
It was better than the remake one where they make fun of him and he turns into like a little mini version of himself and
Yeah.
goes away. And then there was that Shining made for TV one. That was the shits too.
Yes, I was thinking about the casting. Like instead of him, if it had been Gary Sinise, or if it had, instead of Steven Weber, if it had been Gary Sinise, or if it had been maybe another TV actor of the time, like George Clooney or something. I don't know. But he would go on to be a star too quickly. He would have been horrible for the role. Now that I think of it.
I need to. That's one King book. That's one King book I need to read because I heard like some people love the book, but I need to reread that. I don't even know if I read that one. I read pretty much a good chunk of them.
Book. It's like a damn encyclopedia. Novel.
Oh no, I was talking about The Shining.
The Shining.
I'll have to do that when I have like 2 or 3 days off because good lord, it's
yeah.
But
now regarding
I like the first half. I like the stuff with the kids in both the TV movie and the modern films. The stuff with the kids, I do enjoy that. The second film and the second half of the TV, it goes downhill from there. But okay, well now here's one, maybe my favorite made for TV horror film, right up there with Duel for me. And I'm just going to give you a quote. Bubba didn't do it.
Dark Knight Scarecrow.
There you go.
Of course.
Dark Knight of the Scarecrow.
I love that actor too.
Yes, he was just such a wonderful person.
This one, what hang on, let me see what the year is.
I always forget his name. I just call him Dr. Giggles. I'm like, I was like,
yeah.
When I saw the tape, I'm like, oh, Dr. Giggles is in this. And I got.
I sat with him for 2 hours once and interviewed him. Obviously, he passed maybe a year after I had sat with him. It was one of the biggest honors of my life. He's of course, the villain in Darkman, and he won an Emmy for playing Disabled Man on LA Law.
Yeah,
so
he was
Larry Drake, he just is terrific.
The best Killer Santa too, or my favorite Killer Santa.
Larry Drake.
Yes.
Yeah, Larry Drake.
May he rest in peace.
But to give you the plot real quick, here's another one I want you guys. If you haven't seen Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, you got to see it. I couldn't find it streaming anywhere, but this is one that I think I'll have it on DVD. I saw it. It may be streaming somewhere though. But anyway, it's you can't say retarded anymore.
You just said it.
I just said it. A mentally challenged young man.
I used disabled. That was mine.
Mentally disabled. And he's very childlike. and he's got a little girl that he's friends with, and they play together, and they're basically like two children, because even though he's a grown man, he's got the mind of a child. And so they're out in the field playing, and she's teasing him about something, and so they have a very playful, childlike relationship. But the adults in the community do not like that he's playing with this little girl. They think, well, this is, who knows what he's going to do with this kid, and the little girl she wants to get something. I forget, it's a ball or something that goes over a fence or something. She crawls under a fence to get something, and there's a dog that attacks her and nearly kills her. In fact, the town at first thinks the little girl was killed by this dog. Well, not by the dog. They think that Bubba did it. Bubba. That's where I got the Bubba didn't do it. And so, long story short, to go to his mother, and she's, well, I don't know where he's at, and they're hunting down Bubba. And eventually they do. The mother, Bubba comes to his mother, for help. And she puts a hood over his head, and she takes him out into a field, and she puts him up on this post like a scarecrow, dresses him up like a scarecrow. But the hounds, they find Bubba. And they find Bubba, even though he's dressed up like the scarecrow, they know that it's Bubba out there in the field on this post. And they shoot him and kill him. But Bubba doesn't stay dead. And so you've got a series of deaths. The one that's in like this grain elevator or something like that is a bunch of, was it corn or grain or something like that? That's one of my favorite deaths.
It's well shot too.
Beautiful movie. Yeah, the great setting.
You get a good shot of his eyes through that hood too.
Yeah, he's got this hood and he's dressed like a scarecrow. And this is, I don't know if this predates like Jason with the hood in Friday 2, but
people tend to forget before Jason had the hood, you also had the Town That Dreaded Sundown, and Jason's look, I think they stole from that movie, but that's a different discussion for a different day. But
but just the idea,
that's such a great one.
What you would have later with Jason and Michael Myers, and is a killer with a mask. His face is obscured with a mask or with a hood or something like that. This is kind of like an early version of that with the Dark Night of the Scarecrow.
Was Town That Dreaded Sundown? The Town That Dreaded Sundown, did they have a hood in that? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a 70s movie, and it was based on a true story, and it basically it's the only difference is Jason had one eye hole and the Town That Dreaded Sundown had two, and if you watch Twitch of the Death Nerve or Bay of Blood, they ripped off some deaths from that movie too. So I kind of have some beef with Friday too, even though I like it. But some of the stuff is borderline plagiarism.
You're very good with the titles. I knew what you were talking, but
like the spear with the couple in the bed was done in a Bava movie, and
Yes.
So when people say it's an original death, I'm like, no, it's not. But the Dark Knight of the Scarecrow is one of those movies to where it's like you root for him too. I call it like the cheer movie, like get him,
Well, that's what you bringing that up. I remember watching this as a kid, and even though I did find some of the stuff creepy with the way people were killed, I was rooting for him though. I was rooting for him.
I was too.
Get him, Bubba.
Drive that big machine or whatever the hell it is and get him.
But yeah,
I like to call these hillbilly horror movies.
Yeah,
because it's the Hicks,
But yeah, it's a classic. Maybe as far as made-for-TV horror, it might be my favorite, Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. It's right up there with Duel as, one of the best and one that I enjoy revisiting and watching again, and the performance by Larry Drake is so great. And of course, once he becomes a scarecrow, he doesn't talk anymore. He's got, kind of like Jason. He's killing, but he's silent.
Yeah.
And it's got a cool ending too, where he comes back to the little girl, and it's like a kid isn't shocked that the friend that was killed comes back to her. She's not shocked by that because she's a child, and children believe in dark magic, So she's like, "Hey, you come back, Bubba," kind of. But yeah, that's a great one. Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. Look that up. If you haven't seen it, look that up. Okay, someone give me another.
You can go first, or I'll jump in with 12 Angry Men, which was, I believe, on Showtime. So I don't know if that counts, but Edward James Olmos is also in this. I must color this by saying I've heard some negative things, but he's a tremendous actor. So let his work speak for itself. And it's also with Jack Lemmon, George C. Scott. This is, I would say, possibly equal to the Henry Fonda 12 Angry Men. But Showtime was dealing with larger budgets just to even look at a cast like that. So it's not really on the same even field,
So what's that about? Because I heard the title, but I'm drawing a blank on like what the story is.
Well,
I believe an African-American man kills someone, and the jury in the original one was like Lee J. Cobb, Henry Fonda, so all these great performances. And it's basically just about their performances and how they agree and disagree with the various aspects of the case, and kind of bully each other into a verdict.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it, Brandon, you definitely need to look it up. I
I need to check that out.
I think the original with Henry Fonda is streaming somewhere, on the Amazon channel or something.
Well, there's one that just came to my mind. They're not horror ones or anything, but I don't know. Have y'all seen the TV movie for the Ryan White story? It's a little boy who had AIDS. It was based on a true story. And back then, people were scared that you could like catch it, so he wasn't allowed to go to school, and they shot bullets through his windows and all kinds of shit.
No. Oh no!
I haven't.
It's a sad movie, but it was a made for TV movie. I think it happened like in the 80s, but they would like throw bricks through the window, and he was kicked out of school and all kinds of stuff.
It's just awful. Yeah.
Because back then, I guess people. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it factors in with 12 Angry Men with what I was saying. Basically, the group mentality, how people start thinking one way and you can't dissuade them from it, especially they start thinking, oh, my health's in jeopardy. Oh, your boy's a hazard. It gives them a right to really bully and get kind of in people's business too much. And yeah, just with 12 Angry Men, how working in test market research, you got to see how that was a really true story, how they were doing in the movie, how juries may never really agree. It's almost that they're getting walked over on. So it makes you kind of wonder about stuff sometimes. But yeah, I'm looking that up. That's Ryan White, you're saying? Ryan White?
Yeah, I think it was Ryan White. It was a big news story, too. I remember my mom the reason I know about it is because my mom, I watched it with her, and she told me, because, obviously she's way older than I am, that people were like really like paranoid about AIDS to where like nurses wouldn't want to treat people that had AIDS. And, there's a lot of fear.
Oh, it's the boy from Witness, and Lucas Haas, very famous actor. That's like it rings a bell. I must have seen it in school, I think. Oh, and yes, the mother who's the boss. Yeah.
And then if you want to talk about AIDS panic, then you could even go to like gay panic, which there's another one called the Matt Shepard story that was on NBC, which was a murder, he was a gay dude who was murdered, and so it kind of a gay panic thing on that too, and they protested his funeral and stuff. So
yes, the Hilary Swank movie was based on cases similar to that. Oh, it's so tragic.
Also, Tom Hanks in Philadelphia.
There's just a bunch of Shad stuff. Yeah, not to bring the mood down, but I just thought about those are two TV ones too.
Yeah, a fun one to lighten it up is like Camp Cucamonga from maybe 1993. It had Winnie from Wonder Years, all the TV actors of the time, basically in a police academy type deal about them training to be counselors at this camp. And I remember that being on, and they'd ever, oh, who's in it, and all these different people. That was one that was nice. And then there's another one, Michael J. Fox was in 7 or 8 in the mid 80s that were on TV movies for NBC. Those were pretty good as well.
The Eyes of Small Sands, Thomas. And Thomas says, The Deadly Dream has Lloyd Bridges, is good.
Oh.
He is pursued in his dreams by a mysterious group, but when he wakes up, he has the same injuries. I haven't seen that.
To quote Peter Griffin, if you poop in your dreams, you poop for real.
Well, here's another. This one was kind of fun, and it's Revenge! Exclamation point. And it's Shelley Winters, and I always loved Shelley Winters in anything, because she always kind of overacted Shelley Winters, and I love the way she did it.
I love her.
and this one, there's this guy, a business guy, and he gets this briefcase that's full of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. He's like, what the hell? So he wants his briefcase back. And long story short, he gets connected with this woman who says, well, I've got your briefcase. I found your briefcase. You got my briefcase. I've got your briefcase. And so he goes to her house, Shelley Winters, to get his briefcase. And basically she kidnaps him and keeps him jailed in her home because she says that at like a business meeting or some kind of convention or something, he met her daughter and had an affair with her and got her pregnant. And then when he found out she was pregnant, he kind of like, well, fuck off. I don't want anything to do with you, And she committed suicide. And that's her story, that he did this. Of course, he denies it. Says, I've never met your daughter. I don't know who that is. I don't, and she keeps him imprisoned in her house and keeps, and giving him little food and water and stuff, and sort of torturing him. And she kind of does sort of Betty Davis and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. She kind of goes there in the way she acts, But yeah, Shelley Winters is great.
What's the name of this one again?
Revenge! Exclamation!
I'm gonna have to check that one out. That sounds like that's up my alley.
It's on Tubi. Revenge!
I love Shelley Winters.
Yeah, I always did like Shelley Winters. I liked her in anything. But yeah, that's a good one.
Have y'all seen that? They make like a made-for-TV Psycho movie called Bates Motel in like the 80s or something?
Yeah, it didn't do.
Is that worth checking out? Because I'm reading the book now to Psycho. I might check that out if y'all think it's pretty good.
But now the series from a few years ago, I really like that. I thought that was
I'd recommend checking it out, the one that you're mentioning, because Lori Petty's in it. It's some good aspects to it. I believe Henry Thomas plays him as a young boy. So that's the boy from E.T. So just to see those actors in those roles, that's not horrible. Yeah.
I might check out that series because I'm reading the book now and I'm like almost halfway through the book. So I might just kind of rewatch those movies at some point.
I would recommend that. I think it's a really good sort of an origin story of Norman Bates and his mother. I think it's really well done. I don't know. I mean, I did 5 or 6 seasons of it, but
had it been more popular, I think they would have spun it off to its own movie. I really do. I mean, I've talked to people that was. No,
what I'm talking about is I'm not talking about the TV show. Like there was one that was made like called Bates Motel.
Oh no, I know what you mean. Yeah,
yeah,
I know that one. That doesn't.
I might check that one out too. But Psycho 4 was on. Psycho 4 was on my list because I think that was a TV one too.
And
was that straight to video?
Norman calls like a radio station, and
yes,
sort of telling his story about when he was a kid and stuff.
Yeah.
I love that one. I would love to see them make the actual Psycho 2 into a movie. It's basically that Norman takes over a movie set they're filming about him and starts, either sneaking up or killing them. I can't remember how. But
yeah, I have to check it out.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Robert Bloch book Psycho I'm reading now, it seems pretty much the same, except for like the shower scene's a little different, and Norman's fat and has glasses, but
Yeah, I love the writing style though. I really think Robert Bloch's underrated as far as like his contributions to the actual bones of the story. It's all there, and Hitchcock made it, but Robert Bloch, I mean, you come up with this idea, it changed it changed movies, and he wrote it as a book, so I think he's underrated. One I'll say right now is very inspirational. Gifted Hands, the Ben Carson story. Now, Ben Carson, of course, is controversial, as I believe he ran for president maybe in 2012 or 16, I'm not sure. But he began his career as a very gifted surgeon, and he was a surgeon, I believe, in Detroit, raised in, very bad circumstances. And Gifted Hands, the Ben Carson story, I would say is possibly like the gold standard for that. And it's Cuba Gooding Jr. and kind of, the popular actors of the time, Kimberly Elise, I believe. And this was a really good one from 2009.
And what's the title again?
Gifted Hands, the Ben Carson story. And there's also probably one in the 1990s as well. But, take him or leave him as a non-doctor, but he seemed like as a doctor to be a pretty sharp person. So
now that I think about it, wasn't there an ABC movie of the week called Fatal Vision about that guy who murdered his family, and he tried to make it look like it was similar to like the Manson murders, like he wrote pig and stuff on the walls, but they're able to find out he did it. Yeah, but it's based on a true story, and I looked into it, and what he did, he got away for, it was one of those things to where he got away for it with a little bit, but DNA evidence came in, and he did it, but he wrote pigs on the wall and all kinds of weird shit, like to make it look like, I guess, hit Manson type people did it, but nope, he did it.
This rings a bell. This cast is awesome. Carl Malden, Eva Marie Saint, Gary Cole, Andy Griffith. Wow, that's tremendous.
It is Fatal Vision, ain't it? Because I remember what my mom showed me that, and that was one of those old blank tapes she had, and we just popped it in, and it just really. I was like, damn. But that guy, he got away for a little bit, but I guess once they get that DNA going, they're able to show that he did it.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Thomas,
that's crazy.
Thomas says The Girl Most Likely with Stockard Channing is a fun, dark comedy, and he also said that Fatal Vision was an NBC movie. So,
and then of course Helter Skelter, wasn't that a made-for-TV one too? Charles
Steve
Manson.
Railsback really did great. Yeah, Steve Railsback, the best performance, just amazing in that. On the same tip, I would say Tim Daly did pretty good as David Koresh in the Waco Siege TV movie from I think 1993. Made just months after the Waco Siege.
I knew an old dude who had a T-shirt that said "Free Brother Dave," and he was down with the people that were like. Not like he was down. You know how they have the line and the people were watching. He was down there and people were selling T-shirts, and he bought one.
Well, I went with a friend to the compound. Of course, a couple of years after it had burned down, and but I went with a friend, went down to the compound, and there were people there hawking T-shirts and hawking buttons and things like that, selling stuff. About the whole, Mount Carmel.
You know who one of the T-shirt selling people was?
Was that?
Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bomber.
Yeah.
He was inspired by that, so somebody might have bought a T-shirt from old Timothy McVeigh, and they don't know.
I don't know.
I would love to know the whole story about what these real events were, because I was so young at the time, and when you learn more about them, they're just so strange.
Well, it just gets to me, like I said, the stuff that scares me is the stuff that can happen. It's like crazy people. The fact that David Koresh could convince all those people, or that Timothy McVeigh would be inspired by that shit, it's just kind of scary.
Well, it's kind of like
yes.
Yeah. What's his name? What's his name? Jim Jones.
Oh yeah, that's another one. That was another crazy guy.
Yeah,
the Kool-Aid.
Had all those people commit suicide with the Kool-Aid and
Powers Booth, right? Powers Booth.
Yeah, that's the movie.
Yeah, there's Robert Urich does good in 1992. Blind Faith, maybe 1991, 92. He kills his whole family, and he either gets away with it, but very similar to Fatal Vision. I don't know the outcome, though. But it was so scary to see Robert Urich, known for nice roles, to kill his whole family. It was really sad. But yeah. I like TV movies because you can marginalize your expectations. Going in what the issues might be. So you can just appreciate what they do with the story. And overall, yeah.
It's so strange because some of them, like I said, if I didn't know they were TV movies, I wouldn't have known. Because Fatal Vision, I remember it being pretty well shot, too, in terms of how it was filmed and stuff. So I was like, damn, that's crazy for being a TV film.
Well,
yeah, to get Carl Malden in there too. I mean, Carl Malden was, semi-retired at the time and just a tremendous actor. So
that's the thing with these made-for-TV films, is that most of them are shot with kind of limited budget, and so they have to use a little more imagination to, convey the story or tell the story. They don't have a big budget with special effects and all that, and so often they have to be a little more imaginative with the way they tell the story, and a little more creative.
Now, Jay, you might have been young. You might have been young at the time, maybe 20, I don't know. But did you see Amos, 1985, 1986, with Kirk Douglas? Amos, where he's in an elder home getting abused?
No.
I don't think so.
No, I recommend that one. The lady from Bewitched is abusing him, and also Pat Morita's in it, and several other people from the time. So
that Mr. Miyagi. That sounds depressing.
It's very sad, but he gets his, he puts them on blast and makes sure they, because people die from this abuse, so he gets redemption for them.
Speaking of old people, have y'all seen those made-for-TV Gunsmoke movies where they got James Arness back and bless his heart, but he's so gray and old that he's it's just bless his heart, but it was pretty good, the ones I watched though.
Yeah, well, I love Gunsmoke. I love all those made-for-TV movies, even though he's really old and frail, but I love those old movies. I love the show.
Sure.
I think I have it on right now on Pluto TV. I've got Gunsmoke playing right now on my television with the sound off. But yeah, I love those old Gunsmoke films. Here's a movie I saw on Tubi. It was on that list of made-for-TV movie, but it's Night Drive, and it's Valerie Harper, and she's driving. I think it's kind of similar to Duel in a way. In fact, it's a similar sort of feel to it. It's not as well made as Duel by any means, but it's still pretty good. And it's Valerie Harper, and she's driving, and she finds this guy that's pulled over by the police for speeding or something, and the guy kills the policeman. I think he shoots him with a shotgun, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, he kills a policeman. And of course, she sees that. She drives off. And then he starts pursuing her because he saw the murder. And he's got throat cancer or something. He talks with one of them things that vibrate, That's why you talk on the vibrating thing. But it's really good, and it's just that's mainly the movie is him pursuing her and her trying to escape this guy that killed this, and he's just a madman. There's no reason why he killed the policeman, and he's just crazy. And but it's very similar to Duel in the feel of it.
Oh, so it's like a chase movie. So he's like chasing her down.
Yeah, but that's what I definitely would suggest you look up, Brandon, and you too.
How do you feel about the TV versions of Halloween versus John Carpenter's original? Because I know that he had alternate scenes and stuff for the TV versions.
I don't even know if I've ever seen the TV version.
I kind of prefer the TV one over the actual theatrical Halloween.
Yeah, the reason I like it is you just feel like you're in the 70s more. It's hard to explain, but that really weird orange room that they're in where he's like doing that lecture or whatever that scene is.
Yeah, he's like, they're like, but he's like, he's not that man, he's evil. I just love that shit.
Yeah, it's like this orange lecture hall or something. It's just like the most 70s looking room ever. I don't know.
And then like their hairstyles.
Yeah.
Their hairstyles, the sideburns, yeah. And then I think it's either that or the Halloween 2 TV version to where he's like, you fooled him, but you ain't fooled me or some shit.
Yes, he's more intense in that. I agree. Well, I mean, they have to cut it for the theater and then they add it in. So,
yeah. Also, the ending and how the TV ending in Halloween 2 makes no sense because the boyfriend, or not her boyfriend, the guy who has a crush on her survives somehow and people just disappear.
Oh, Leo Rossi? Or you mean the okay, I got you. The other
the guy who had like a crush on her or whatever.
Oh gosh. One with Holly Hunter. I know we all love Holly Hunter. At least I know Jace mentioned it.
My favorite.
It's directed by
comedy, Raising Arizona.
Yeah. Oh yes. So this is by Michael Ritchie. He had some flops, but he had made Wildcats, Fletch Lives, Fletch, Golden Child, and then makes this HBO TV movie, and it's Holly Hunter and Beau Bridges. I believe they kill a cheerleader, a rival cheerleader, a black comedy type deal, and she kills them, or Holly Hunter has someone killed. But I remember them kind of talking to the camera in the movie and it being very influential. This is 1993. They started doing that kind of talk to the camera type shtick that would go on to be in Office and all these shows. So I would say it's probably, yeah.
What's the title again?
Let me get positively too long of a title, so I apologize. Positively True Adventures of the Alleged Texas Cheerleader Murdering Mom. I would take out 5 words from that, but
I think I've seen that.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it sure is. I would just say the Texas, something. I don't know. But yeah, it was. I'm sure she won an Emmy for it. It was one of her best roles.
Well, of course, anything with Holly Hunter, Let's see.
Yes,
the
it won 3
girl
Emmys.
most likely with Stockard Channing is a fun dark comedy.
Nice.
And I think I've already read that. Yeah, I might have already read that. And then he talks about Fatal Vision, this NBC movie. Yeah, I think I'm
Girl most likely. I got to see that. That must have been from the 70s. Let's see.
And the other one I used to watch as a kid, I enjoyed it. It's goofy as hell, and that's Gargoyles.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that sounds like that's up my alley. So I'm picturing those weird little monsters or something.
They are. They kind of look like the creature from the Black Lagoon. They're the full body, suits, gargoyles, and it's a fun movie. It's goofy. It's a goofy film. But I remember having fun with it as a kid. It was a 1972, I think. It's a made-for-TV movie, Gargoyles. But it's on Tubi if you want to look it up. It's a fun movie.
I will definitely look that up. That sounds awesome.
But yeah, gargoyles. That's and that's what they are. They're gargoyles. The living, breathing gargoyles. And
does the cartoon have anything to do with it, or the cartoon's just nothing to do with it?
No, it has nothing to do with it. No, this was.
Okay.
I think it was 72. It came out.
Yeah. Cornell Wilde and Jennifer Salt. She was in Sisters. Scott Glenn. Wow, what a great cast.
I'll have to add that to my list because I'm a sucker for monsters. That's kind
Yeah,
of my thing.
like I say, it's kind of goofy.
That's
Cornell
why,
Time, yeah,
like,
Jennifer Salt, Bernie Casey, Scott Glenn,
Yeah,
uh, but yeah, it's a fun movie. It's kind of silly, but it's got the one thing I thought was kind of, I don't know, it was the kind of message behind it is with these gargoyles, they lay eggs in this cave, and they're basically, they say they're going to take over the world.
that's awesome.
And so I forget which what the man is. He's him and his girlfriend, or it might be his wife. They're encountering the gargoyles early in the movie, and they attack them and attack their car, and so then the police find out about the gargoyles. They basically, it's like, well, we got to wipe them out because they're going to take over if we don't wipe them out. So they find out where the cave is at, and basically at the end, they blow up the eggs and kill off the baby gargoyles. And
Oh no.
there's just two left. There's a male and female gargoyle, and they can fly. They got wings. And basically, they say, okay, we'll let you two live, but, watch what you do now. So they fly off, the male and female gargoyle, because they kill off all the baby gargoyles and stop the invasion, I guess you'd say. But they let the last two gargoyles live.
It seems like you want to finish the job, but maybe
that's what I was going to say.
I mean,
it's a fun one. Yeah, like I say, it's not really scary. It's more
I'll,
fun. It's more of a fun watch than a scary one.
I'll
that
add that
sounds
to
awesome.
I'll add that to my list. I didn't get around to it with work and stuff, but I was told like those Dark Shadows movies, like the House of Dark Shadows and stuff like that, is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'll put that on my list with those.
Jay, what do you like better, Q the Winged Serpent or this?
Q the Winged Serpent, or what? What else?
Gargoyle.
Yeah.
Oh no, Q the Winged Serpent by a mile.
I love that movie.
Okay.
That's the one with that dinosaur, right? That flies around and he has that weird neck and he.
And was it Michael Moriarty?
Yeah, that's what it kind of reminded me of when you were saying it. So
I love him in that movie. He was always, I just loved him. He was always a lot of fun, Michael Moriarty.
he's an awesome actor.
And he's having a ball in that movie. He's having the time of his life in that movie. That one and the stuff. But anyway, no, I love Larry Corrigan, all the It's Alive films and the stuff and Q the Winged Serpent.
Those It's Alive movies, that's some silly shit, but I like them.
I love them. No, I love them.
Jay, did you get to know Larry
as a person?
Did you get to know? Yeah, at the conventions and stuff.
No, I've never met him. I always wanted him, but
yes, I got to know him. He was really cool. That's great.
Oh my gosh, you got to know Larry Cohen, huh?
Yeah. Well, maybe 04 till obviously his death, but the last time I saw him was at the some event leading up to a special feature that we were doing at the time. So yeah.
Oh, well, I'm jealous of that.
He's really cool. He would go walk around the conventions and just go up to people and was really a friendly guy. That's why I was thinking you might have met him at some time.
That's cool to hear. Because, like I said this on the other show, I'm always a believer of never meet your hero. So that's right on.
Yeah, he started out so different than most that he never really lost sight of things. The ambulance special features, or it might have been for something else. But yeah, in order to do them, they have to go through the agencies and different contacts and things. So that's how it happened.
I know
the cat creature.
One thing I really regret I never was able to get, because I never had been to a convention that Larry Cohen was at, but I know at some of those conventions he was selling little stuff containers. And he said that these were actually in the film. I guess he had, when they finished the film, he had just tons of these things, these stuff containers. And he was selling them. I have like $10 a piece or something like that. But I'd love to have one of the little stuff containers. But anyway, Thomas says The Cat Creature was another ABC movie. I remember that. I think I've seen that.
Okay.
No, I like cats.
Written by Robert Bloch, and it
I like
had
creatures.
Kent Smith on a small role. He was actually an original Cat People. The Cat Creature is fun. Alan Lover is cheap but good. It was a wide world of mystery.
Nice.
Dick Perrin did the voice. It was an anthropologist and his daughter. Oh.
Another one to throw it out there is kind of a comedy, basically a ripoff of Wildcats, but with Roseanne Barr as the coach. And I thought it was a decent TV movie. It was like some football term. I'll figure out what that one was. But a fun comedy sometimes. She did pretty good in that one. Backfield in Motion. Backfield in Motion. Yeah.
The Cat Creature.
Did you give?
Hello.
Did you give it any head cheese?
No, but she was scaring me with how she was growling after it, though.
My dog ran up to the screen. He said hello.
Yeah, that head cheese, it has kind of a stank to it, I guess, that they like.
Well, I got some chicken at the place that Anna Nicole Smith used to work at in my head.
Oh wow.
And crispy fried chicken. Yeah, she worked there and she lived in Mahia for a short time, went to school, and her name was Nikki Taylor or something like that. I was probably served by her because I mean we, all my life we've gone to Crispies and gotten chicken, so I probably have been served by Anna Nicole Smith. But anyway, speaking of cats going wild over a smell, they know when I've got chicken. But these outdoor cats,
Oh, yeah.
I got a bunch of outdoor cats, and I walk up and they can smell. Yeah, yeah. So they get the bones. I throw the chicken bones out to them, and they fight over the chicken bones. So, but
Yeah, they have a unique sense of smell because I try to sneak food sometimes, and
yeah, they know. I mean, it's just a paper bag, that they put the
if
chicken.
it ain't them, it's the dogs. And so sometimes if I have food, I'll set in my car and I'll eat it real quick and then come and say.
Kind of funny. Yeah, I've done that before.
Okay, well, probably one of the most popular made-for-TV horror movies or miniseries is Salem's Lot.
Ooh, I love that one.
Yeah. And Toby Hooper, of course, who did Texas Chainsaw. And yeah, very well done. I'm a big Stephen King fan myself. I think Akers, you said you had some issues with Stephen King, but I really like Stephen King. I like his.
Oh no, just a long nuanced discussion. It's not very issue oriented.
It's weird because I think I prefer the films over his books. If that's blasphemy, I know, but
Well, the thing is with the books is they're so long and detailed, and if that's, I'm not even going to say if I have a huge preference, but I just like to read a good story. So
yeah,
like as much as I love Misery with Kathy Bates, I love the book almost as much, if not a little more, because it goes into such more detail with, the characters and so I like that.
yeah, he's a good author. I'm just saying, I kind of just prefer because I really when I was reading Salem's Lot, I really couldn't get into it too much. It was almost kind of like I just felt like I was reading it because I had to. But then when I watched the Toby Hooper film, it was almost like just good. I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think Toby does such a good job in it. It really, I mean, Toby's so underrated. I won't get into it too much, but I of course had dealings with him as well. He's just leaves a vacuum every day that I think that he's gone. So sad.
It is.
You knew him personally. You knew him personally also. Huh?
Yes.
Well, cool. Well, you're someone I want to get and have a long conversation with because these people you've known in person that I'm such a big fan of. Like,
yeah, it meant a lot to him. The movie it led to getting larger budgets and everything after that. And if Invaders from Mars or one of those movies in the 80s had really hit, his career would have been different. But he had a lot of integrity in what he made. And well, we could broach the other subjects that are people talk about with him another time for sure.
But the creepy boy in the window is what I think about when I think of Salem's Lot. That shit gave me nightmares.
The floating boy, yeah.
Yeah, that gave me nightmares, and I'm an adult, so
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. That is probably one of the most noteworthy scenes in the movie is the floating boy. The vampire boy. But no,
I pulled up once to his house, and in his upper window, it was the scariest thing. It was basically he's just putting it there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't always there, but by like September and October, he'd put some weird fucking creepy thing in the window, and it would either be that or something else from his movies. It was always that he was trying to do that. It was so strange.
And I like that the master vampire kind of looks like the original Nosferatu. It's got a very similar look.
Absolutely.
But no, that's a classic.
I like the scene with the drunk guy and the cheating couple. That was pretty funny.
Yes, and Bonnie Bedelia does great. Bonnie Bedelia was really underrated. She's the woman from Die Hard, but I think she does really well in this film.
Let's see. Vic Perrin did the voice of the gargoyle, and the intro he did into the original Outer Limits.
I need to revisit the Outer Limits. It's been a while since I've seen that.
We control the horizontal. I enjoy Hooper's Life Force. Life Force is so batshit crazy,
unbelievable. I love it so much.
I love Life Force. It is just absolutely insane, that movie. And the naked space vampire girl is quite attractive, and but
I
need to watch that one. I ain't seen Life Force.
Oh, you got to see.
Oh yes, all the different genres that it spans. It covers every genre basically there is. It's amazing. I love the movie so much, and if there's a magnum opus for him, it's that.
It goes.
Yeah.
It goes like in the last half of the film. It goes crazy, but in a great way.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it goes nuts. And
yes.
That's one you got to see, Life Force. It originally was called.
Yes, especially if you like Helter Skelter.
Yeah, it was originally called Space Vampires.
If you like Helter Skelter, it's yes, Space Vampires, written by the writer of Alien.
Yeah, that was.
I'm glad they didn't go with the original title because, it's Steve Railsback from Helter Skelter.
Yeah, what's the original title?
Space Vampires.
Life Force.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like Helter Skelter. I even did the Charlie Manson dance when I was at a bar one time.
Awesome.
That dude was, he was something else. He was crazy.
Yeah, very interesting fact.
Okay, well, what else you got, Brandon? Give us one.
Well, I mean, we've been kind of tiptoeing around it, but I think it'd probably be time to talk about Trilogy of Terror.
Nice.
You like the Zuni doll. I thought he was kind of silly, but
Hey, well, here's the thing with me about that. I watched that when I was like 8 years old. And I remember it was, we used to have this one of them big, color televisions that weighed like 300 pounds, the big, huge color TVs. Yeah, it's probably like a 10-inch screen, but it had this, thing with your big wooden top to it.
Oh, yeah, I had to move one for my grandma because I didn't throw nothing away, and it's heavy.
And I was up, I think it's a weekend, Saturday. I think my parents were probably in bed. So I'm up by myself, and I see this Trilogy of Terror, and I remember just being bored by it. The first two stories, I think I was about to shut it off and go to bed when the third story started up. And I think what kept me watching is when Karen Black takes out of the sack that doll and she sets it on the table and she's talking to her mother on the phone. And she says, well, and she got it for her boyfriend, this doll, this Zuni fetish doll. And she talks about where it's from and all that, what the legend's supposed to be about it. And it's this doll with these sharp teeth, and it's holding a little spear, and it's got a little necklace around its neck. And she reads what it says about this doll, that if the necklace is taken off the doll, then dark magic is unleashed or something. And I don't think it says the doll comes alive, but it says something like that. Something terrible will happen, or a terrible curse will happen, or something like that. And so she, and she has a fight with her mother, and she slams them because her mother didn't like her boyfriend or something. So she slams down the phone, and she slams down that doll, and she goes into the kitchen or something. And you have a close-up of that doll, and you see that necklace around the doll's neck falls off. And, well, if you know, the doll starts chasing her around and stabbing her, with a knife. And
yeah.
And
it's
she puts it in a suitcase, and it cuts its way out of the suitcase and all that. She eventually throws it in an oven and burns it up.
Yeah, but you forgot the best part. She throws him in a bathtub, and like Rambo, he has a little steak knife in his mouth, and he crawls out. That's the best part.
And to me, as an 8-year-old kid, it scared the shit out of me, that doll. I mean, it really scared me. I had nightmares for like a week about that damn thing. I could hear it under my bed and shit. And it really scared me. And particularly after watching the first 2 stories and just being sort of bored, I didn't see this coming. This doll.
I love the first 2 stories. The first 2 stories are great, though.
So I guess because when I saw it,
yeah,
it really affected me, and I guess it's just been sort of something I've kept with me that I still love, and I like the first 2 stories too, but that third story, Prey, I think it's called, and once again, Richard Matheson wrote it, and are based on his short story, Prey, and I think the story is called like Amelia or something. I think his name's the girl's name, but yeah, that one hit me hard.
She did look scary when she had the teeth and the makeup in, though. She's stabbing the floor after calling her mama over.
Yeah, she throws the doll in the oven, and she burns it up. And of course, you got to do the stupid shit, which is she's got to peek in the oven. No, you don't peek in. You got this fucking living doll in the oven, even if it's burned up. You don't open the oven. You get the fuck out of the house. But no. She reaches and slowly opens the oven, and you see this kind of force flying at Karen Black, and you don't know, well, what's happened to her. You hear this cry, and then you see her, it fades up, and she's on the phone, and she's reconciling with her mother. And she's, okay, mother, come over. I'm sorry what I said, And you see her tearing the lock off the door. It's one of them chain locks. You see her tearing the lock off the door, and then she's sitting squat-legged. She's sitting on the floor, and she's got this butcher knife in her hand, and she starts stabbing the floor, and then slowly she smiles, and you see these teeth, these sharp teeth, So she's been possessed by the Zuni doll, and she's become this Zuni creature or whatever. But it's a great ending, yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, but I want to talk about the first 2 ones because, in the first story, that guy's trying to blackmail Karen Black because she's a college professor, and, he got her to do sexual stuff. But then in the end, it turns out that she was really playing him the whole time and murdered him. That was a pretty good one. And then the second one, to where it's like split personality, and you think it's like 2 different people, but it turns out it's just her being crazy.
Yeah.
I like those 2. The third one's good. I like the story. It's just kind of too silly for me, when she traps him in the suitcase and then he crawls out the tub like Rambo and stuff. It's
Well, I guess look at it as at the time that it was made, though.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you've seen so many movies since then about gremlins and critters or whatever.
I love when he runs too. It's just like
Yeah. But at the time period that it was made, I think it was kind of something unique.
It was good, yeah.
And let's see. Thomas asks, "Did you ever see The Love War with Lloyd Bridges?" You still with us, Akers?
Yes, I'm right here.
Oh, okay.
I'm right here. Okay.
Did you see that, The Love War with Lloyd Bridges?
No.
And I love. Oh, is he talking about what I did? The Chet Cheddar's Tales from the Morgue. Is there anywhere I can find the Spirit of 76 Marina Hootenanny? My God, you're talking, man, this is going way, way back. I've got a personal copy of that as an MP3 file, and I could see if maybe I could send it to you that way. Him talking about this Chet Cheddar story, a show I did with my friend Mark. We did for National Public Radio, this little sort of radio program, comedic radio program we did, Chet Cheddar. But yeah, I could see what I could do about that. The Marina Hootenanny. My gosh, you're talking, we're going way back 30 something years ago. Okay, what else? What am I forgetting? I think what I last watched last night was called Paper Man. Paper Man. And this is also on Tubi. And what's interesting about it, that this was like shot in like 1971, 72 or something like that. And it's these college students, and one of them gets a credit card in the mail. Now, this is kind of a new thing back then in the early 70s, credit cards. He gets a credit card in the mail that's under this man's name. He don't know who this man's name is. And he thought, oh, well, the computer's made an error. And so him and his college friends decide, well, what the hell? We've been sent this card. It's got this man's name on it. Let's just invent this person and let's go on a spending spree with this credit card. So they have a friend that's good with computers. And this is back when computers filled up like a whole room, big on them big swirling tapes, but this guy is a computer whiz. And so they get their friend to make give this guy a job, this guy, where he was born, where he went to school and all that, make up this whole background for this guy on this credit card. So that they can use the credit card and go and buy shit. But then the credit company finds out, that there's something amiss. And so they're looking into it, and then people start to die. And it looks like the computer is killing these students off, because computers are controlling everything in this college. One girl gets killed, an elevator door closes in on her and crushes her on the elevator door. It's controlled by the computer, and all these different things that are controlled by the computer start slowly killing off these college students. Now the ending kind of was sort of disappointing to me, because I thought it didn't go in the direction I kind of thought it was going to go into, but it's still, I thought, was effective. It was well done. But anyway, Paper Man, and that's what they call the fake person that they invent. They call it the Paper Man. They actually make a man out of paper, and they name him the name that's on this credit card.
What year? What year for that?
Hang on, let me see. I think it's 71 or 72, but let me look it up.
Okay, good.
It's on Tubi.
That one sounds good.
And it's good. And what I liked about it, hang on just a minute. I'm seeing it, but not the one I'm looking for. So,
I have to feed my animal.
1971. So like I say, this is when computers filled up a whole room. You had all with these swirling tapes, and
Yeah.
so and it's like an early idea of identity theft, which
I really want to watch that. That sounds cool. I like to see the old technology and
it's like that's what's cool about it is the old technology and this guy who's like
Yeah.
a computer whiz, like an early computer whiz, but it's 1971, so but it's like identity theft. One of the real early examples of identity theft by a computer.
I have to check it. I have to check it out. I had to step out for a bit because the cats were fighting over that package of head cheese. I had to go throw it in a different trash.
Head cheese. Oh my gosh.
I don't know if y'all heard that. Wow! Like I had to.
When you first showed the head cheese, you heard.
They loved that shit. I had to take the package from Twinkie's mouth. She didn't want to let it go.
I know Jay's dad used to love those. He used to say the head cheese.
Yeah.
No, well, okay, so LA Takedown is from 1989, and LA Takedown is, I think Michael Mann made it. I actually prefer it to Heat because Heat, it's basically the exact same story as Heat, but Heat I find to be pretty boring with like Natalie Portman complaining about her hair and all the other scenes like where Robert De Niro is courting that woman and they talk about their ethnicity for 5 minutes. I find those scenes to be kind of boring. Where LA Takedown is just TV movie version, like a concept test of what Heat would become with some pretty good action scenes for a TV movie at the time. And you got Michael Rooker in it, and where the dot goes, you bang. That guy from Jason Lives, he's in it too. Yeah, and Daniel Baldwin as well.
I have to check that out.
LA Takedown, you said?
Yeah, LA Takedown. A lot of good character actors, and yeah, Heat I guess is good with all the other stuff, but it's just so long. And this one, I guarantee you're done in 90 minutes. So,
well, I had mentioned that zombie movie that was made a few years ago that had Bill Murray called "The Dead Don't Die," but this wasn't what Thomas was talking about. He says he mentioned this last time, a television movie, "The Dead Don't Die," with George Hamilton and
Hamilton.
Ralph Meeker and Linda
Yes.
Chris.
I've seen that. That was on a lot. I don't know why, but I've seen that maybe multiple times, and I've also seen the one where he's a vampire before too. Of course, that's a famous movie. Yeah, he was underrated at the time.
I'll have to check that out.
I have too. I've never seen that version of it. Like I say, what I saw was a Jim Jarmusch film a few years ago. It's a zombie movie. It's kind of fun, kind of more of a comedy called "Dead Don't Die," but that isn't what Thomas was talking about. So
that's cool. 2 titles. Huh?
Well, I think that's everything on my list. But yeah, anything you guys have, like I say, we definitely could do another show talking about that, talking about TV.
I would like to do it. I would like to do another show because I didn't have time to watch that Crawl Space one.
I want to see Crawl Space.
That's on YouTube streaming. I just didn't have time.
Here's an idea, Brandon and Akers. And this would definitely, we couldn't do this in one show. This would take 2 or 3 shows to finish, particularly for me, being as old as I am. But pick your favorite movie from every year you've been alive. And so that will take some Googling. But, take the year you were born and year by year by year to the present day. And your favorite horror film, or maybe just your favorite film. It doesn't have to be a horror film, just your favorite film from that year. And I think that'd be a cool.
That would be a good one. I already know I was born in 94, and I think New Nightmare came out in 94, so that'd probably be my fave for that year.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think would be the best one to do? Of your favorite horror films or just your favorite movie?
I guess movies in general that make it more interesting. So I think Reservoir Dogs
Yeah.
came out in '94, and I love that movie too.
Yeah.
So,
92.
or '92. Okay, well that doesn't count because I was born in '94, so that one doesn't count. But yeah, there's a lot of them.
You're a damn toddler. I was born in '65.
Damn, you're gonna have a lot of movies. You're gonna have a long list.
Okay, I would finish my list before you, but you can stick around to talk about
I
my.
was about to say, damn, you're gonna have a list that's like as big as that Stephen King book.
Yeah.
I jumped in a little late, but did you guys mention Body Bags yet? The
Oh, I
It's
forgot
John
about
Carpenter.
that one.
And it's got
Yeah.
John Carpenter in it. Is what's the character's
yeah, I
name?
would say that's probably that's one of my top 10 ones.
Oh, I forgot that's another one that I forgot that was a TV movie because it looks so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks awesome, especially his segment, Mr. Carpenter's.
Wasn't that the one where the guy he wants to have hair and so he gets the hair
Yeah.
transplant, and then one of my favorite parts is he's bald and he sees the dude from K&B with long shaggy hair, and then he looks down and the dog is also shaggy.
Greg
That's crazy.
Nicotero.
Yeah, he's just with his hair blown in the wind, and then he looks down and the dog's all like hairy and shit too. Walking around.
I love watching
That
the
would-
first segment over and over. I've seen the first segment maybe back to back once. It builds on itself. It's really
Was
really
that the
good.
one with Wes? Was that the one with Wes Craven where he goes to buy cigarettes and that girl's at a gas station or something?
Yes. I think Carpenter made that one, and the guy from American Werewolf in London, I think, is the criminal, or and
It's
and
been
the
a
woman does a
while.
pretty good job. Yeah.
It's
I
been
like
a
that
while
one.
since I've seen it. And wasn't there one where like a baseball player loses his eye, then he gets another eye and starts seeing evil shit?
Yes, it's Luke Skywalker, I think.
Yeah, because I remember
Yeah.
I always got that movie. Then there was one with John Ritter called Terror Tract or something. Always got those
Yes.
movies mixed up.
Was that a TV movie too?
That might have been. I don't. I've had that terror. That Terror Tract is just a VHS I bought from the flea market. That might have been a TV movie. I'm not sure.
But anyway, I
I
pulled
love
up
that
here,
one.
Body Bags. And of
Oh,
course,
there you
it's
go.
got John Carpenter is the kind of like the coroner, is the narrator, John Carpenter.
So awesome.
He pulls up that bag of this blood. And he's like, "This used to be a person or something."
And you get a little
Yeah.
cameo. You get a cameo by Tom Arnold and Toby Hooper as morgue workers. The first one's
exactly.
the gas station. It's Robert Carradine. Wes Craven appears in it. Sam Raimi appears. David Naughton. You mentioned David Naughton. And then Hair, with Stacy Keach. And Sheena Easton is in it. And then the
Oh, it's
last
so
one,
good.
what you mentioned, the guy with the eye transplant eye.
Yeah, and Twiggy's in that.
and
Twiggy,
Twiggy,
the famous supermodel. Yeah.
and Mark Hamill is the lead
Yep.
character. And Roger Corman appears in that. Charles Napier appears. But yeah, that's a lot of fun, Body Bags, and I really like
Really
John
is.
Carpenter in that.
I would have loved if it caught on and they made an anthology series, maybe 1 or 2 years, and seen John Carpenter do that character more, because that was the intent.
Yeah.
He was a pretty good actor. It's kind of a
Yeah.
shame he only directed and wrote, and well, I mean, he did music too. But it'd been interesting to see him act more. He was really good.
Yeah, I'd love to see him do some kind of meta thing like a New Nightmare, but you never know.
Thomas says, look for Ghost Sierra Cobra with Martin Landau. It was made by the guy
wow.
who produced Outer Limits. It was a pilot for a series called The Haunted, but wasn't picked up. But how can we watch that?
That's a cool title. Ghost Sierra. What?
Cobra.
Ghost Sierra.
Ghost Sierra Cobra.
Cobra. Oh wow.
And Martin, I love Martin Landau. So
Maybe that's a train or something.
and
Have to find out.
And I was going to mention this at the beginning of the show. Of course, there's been a lot of people. We're kind of late on this because this happened several days ago. But did we ever find out what happened to Gene Hackman?
No, I'm assuming a gas leak.
Well, I
maybe.
think they've already ruled that out because that was one of the early assumptions is that because it was him and his wife and his dog that were found. But I think they've ruled out a gas leak. So
The
other,
closest thing I've heard is that he ate something and he had an event, or he had a meal. After that, he was kind of foamed at the mouth, had an event, died during that cardiac event, and then she frantically ran to the bathroom. And at that point, it's like that she may have had some health concern that we don't know about, and that she then kind of panicked while the pills are everywhere, and maybe tried to give him some pills, and then they're not sure about her. I don't know, but it was like nothing negative, but that something happened. I'm so sad. I'm happy the other two dogs
She
lived.
might have had a heart attack herself from panic too. You
Yes.
never know.
Yes,
well, I
that's
mean,
what the person said.
But what about the dog though? The dog was found dead also.
I guess it starved.
So, it's
I
Well,
mean,
yes, it was in. No, it was in the kitchen. It was left in a bedroom unattended, and it couldn't get to the food, and other dogs couldn't open the thing. So yes, it sadly wasn't able to eat.
I'm just glad it wasn't. I'm just glad it wasn't like a Chris Benoit thing to where. Because I remember the last time I heard about a celebrity and their family dying with the pets and stuff was when Chris Benoit like murdered his family and then killed himself.
Well, and that's
yes, he wasn't fit enough to do that.
Speculation is that because he was 95, and so
yeah,
that
but
maybe she had given him something and then taken it herself and then said, well, we want the dog to come with us. So that is pitiful. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be that. It's terrible.
Yeah, he couldn't walk upright too much, so he wasn't doing as good.
But God, one of the all-time best actors ever. Movies.
It's crazy because I bought a copy of The French Connection on Blu-ray not too long ago, so it's just kind of weird,
Yeah, well, he hasn't acted in something like 20 years. He's been retired for a long time. And
I highly recommend The Package. That was a great one. He had great chemistry with Joanna Cassidy and Tommy Lee Jones.
I liked him in Unforgiven too.
Unforgiven, and Mississippi Burning, which I saw recently.
I don't know how true it is, but I read somewhere they considered him for Hannibal Lecter, and that wouldn't have made sense to me. That would have been weird.
No, he was going to direct it. He was going to direct it himself, star in it himself, and he wanted Michelle Pfeiffer to play the other one. So, and then he also then was going to not direct it, and then have Sean Connery or Jack Nicholson play Hannibal Lecter.
I can see Jack Nicholson.
So bizarre, right?
But yeah, there's so many movies. But with Gene Hackman,
that's so crazy. Yeah, he never directed anything, and he was about to direct that. I just can't believe that. Actually, it's so strange. But
Mississippi Burning is a real good one. It'd been a while since I've seen that, but that was a real good film.
Anyway, Thomas says this. Look for Ghost of Sierra Cobra is on YouTube. And another is Dark Intruder with Leslie Nielsen. It was a pilot, but like the Ghost of Sierra Cobra, was deemed too scary for television. Dark Intruder.
Crazy.
Too scary for television, and Leslie Nielsen is in it. I'm sold.
This must have been late 70s. Yeah,
that was not easy to find. He says so.
Okay.
I look forward to checking. I look forward to checking out that crawl space since I had such a hard time finding it. Someone just happened to upload it.
That's what I definitely want to see. Look what Leslie Nielsen does in Creep Show. He could be dark and creepy and
I can hold my breath for a very long time.
A very long time.
He does well as the captain in Poseidon Adventure, and with Gene, he loves scuba diving.
So too.
Yes,
wasn't he in Prom Night?
Oh yes. And Gene Hackman, he loved scuba diving. So when you see movies like The Firm, he's really doing those scuba diving scenes, and that's a very unique character and a very good performance for him. But it ended up being where he wanted to get like top billing, so there was some dispute regarding that. But other than that, I think it's one of the more underrated Gene Hackman performances in The Firm.
Well, of course, I love Willem Dafoe, and him and Willem Dafoe in
Mississippi Burning.
Mississippi Burning.
Yeah.
William Dafoe is like one of my favorite people, or one of my favorite actors. I like him and everything.
You gave me the code to Nosferatu and watch that. And I love Willem Dafoe in that.
Everyone thinks I'm crazy, but I think if they ever did another Nightmare on Elm Street, I wouldn't mind seeing him as Freddy because he's just kind of scary out of makeup too.
That would be great. I ask those questions sometimes, and people when they answer, they say that quite often. So it seems like if that could be done, that would be great. But I think
if someone told me William Dafoe's looking for you and he's pissed, I'd be scared. So
Yeah, the thing is, they know that the other one flopped and underperformed in everyone's mind so much that as long as Mr. Robert Englund is still alive, I don't think any audience will support anyone but him playing the role. It's almost been proven. So
what I would do if I was a director, I would have Robert Englund maybe play one of the parents that killed him, or somebody else. Kind of ease them into it.
Yeah, a dream scientist, something like that, something real good like that. Yeah,
because I'm not of the belief that nobody can play that character. I just think you got to have the right person. And I also feel like Jackie Earle Haley didn't have a fair shot because the makeup wasn't good and the script wasn't good.
That's what I was going to say about that. I think Jackie Haley did a really good job as Freddy. It was the script that was terrible.
Yeah, and it's not his fault. I felt so bad for him because everyone was saying it's like, no, he's not the shits. He just has a shitty script.
He had a bad
script. The makeup design.
And also
they filmed wrong. Yeah, it's filmed wrong. He kind of show his face the right way. I don't know.
And what they went with that movie, which was a terrible decision, is to go the child molestation route with the character. And good God, that just gives you a bad feeling to begin.
What they could have done. What they could have done is they could have did like what they did in the original, to where he was a killer, but you kind of hint at it, but you don't go into it as much.
But they went full on in the remake.
Also, there was a scene that was deleted from the original movie that was on one of the laser discs, to where the mom was saying, Nancy, you weren't always an only child. So it's kind of like Freddy killed their siblings. And that's why the parents burnt. I don't know why Wes Craven took that out of that film, but that would have been interesting to see that in there.
But no, that's the thing is that Jackie Earle Haley did a good job as the character, as Freddy. It was just a bad.
He didn't have a chance.
Yeah. But
I wish he would have been in something else. I wish it would have gone, because he was doing so good at the time, and then basically you don't see him as much. So I wish it would have happened differently for him. One of my favorite,
it might have killed his career. Well, it didn't kill his career, but it might have put the kibosh on it for a while.
Well, yeah. I mean, I looked it up because I wanted to prove that out, and I would say it did affect it pretty good, Brandon. It definitely did, because he hasn't been in any real big name brand type deal. At the time, he had been in The Watchmen. He'd been nominated for an Oscar for Little Children. But since we're talking about movie news, I got some insight into Patrick Wilson, that he's going to be the role of Nick Nolte in the Cape Fear series, and that he, instead of he's in that instead of the Friday the 13th one. Friday the 13th series.
Robert Mitchum film? I know they remade it with De Niro, but yeah. To me, Robert Mitchum was scarier than De Niro.
Yes, now we'll see how Javier Bardem does as the De Niro role. So Javier Bardem, Amy Adams, which I'm not very fond of for this role as Jessica Lange, and then Patrick Wilson for Nick Nolte. So when I had learned that he interviewed to be in the Friday the 13th series, I was shocked, but then obviously they didn't pay him enough, and now he's gone to the Apple deal. So that's how it works.
I'm kind of tired of remakes, but I get it. It's just, there's movies that are good. I had not an argument, but someone was hating on a lot of remakes, and I said, "What's your favorite movie?" I like Scarface. It's like, we know Scarface is a remake of an old 30s movie. And he was kind of shocked to know that. So,
But let me catch up here.
So I guess I can't complain, but
Leslie Nielsen did a lot of smiling heavies in his early career. He was the captain in the Poseidon Adventure. He was in the Hawaii Five-0 pilot in '68, and he was in 2 Night Gallery episodes. Yeah, I remember him in Night Gallery.
was that the one with the Twilight Zone man?
Yeah, yeah.
I think I remember my grandma watching that on like one of the old. I call them the old people channels.
When
You'd always watch the old people channel.
he would
METV and all them.
Yeah, my dad, he'll watch me and my dad when he was living closer to me. We'd go over there and we'd watch Columbo on the old people channel. He'd be like, "Come over, we're gonna watch the old timer channel and watch Columbo."
They have like 2 advertisements.
But sorry to interrupt you guys, because we're going to kind of wind down. We've done 2 hours. We're going to sort of wind down here. This has been a really good one.
Okay.
And we're definitely going to do more of these, talking about TV movies, made-for-TV movies.
There's so many of them. I would have checked out more, but between funerals and work and everything, it's just I didn't have enough time.
And also, Brandon, give thought to what the idea I had.
Give me
every year that you've been breathing.
Yeah, give me a little time on that one. So I'm going to have to do some research.
That's going to take some Googling. Yeah, for me.
Because I'm the kind of person that I'm going to make a list, but then I'm going to find something else. So I'm going to have to go redo it. Yeah, that's just how I am.
Well, like I say, there's a lot of there'd be some years it's like, oh God, that came out, that was great, that came out, that was great, that came out, that was great.
I have a feeling that there's going to be a year that's like a turd, to where it's like, damn, there's just
but pick one movie that's okay that rises to the top, because I already know
Wolfman.
I there's like a lot of great movies came out in 1982,
2010, The Wolfman, amazing. Fast forward to 2025, Wolfman, the shit.
But my favorite movie and my favorite horror film, 1982, John Carpenter's The Thing. And I don't care what else came out. I know E.T. came out that year. I don't know. I don't care what else came out. That's going to be my favorite movie for 1982. It's going to be John Carpenter's The Thing. And it's a horror film, but that's my favorite film from that year. But yeah, give that some thought, and start doing some digging and Googling, and
they'll definitely. I'll do some research on that. That's going to be a fun one because there's probably stuff I don't even remember.
Yeah, and just like and then what I do is just do Google. I say movies 1965 or best movies 1965, next movie 1966 or whatever. And it's like because there's a lot of movies I didn't know what year they came out. I just know they're just some of my favorite films.
And at some point, I wouldn't mind talking about the Hammer Christopher Lee movies at some point, And
I definitely, because I love that.
I feel like I kind of outgrown. I don't want to say I outgrown slasher movies. I like them, but I feel like now that I'm older, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I need something more sophisticated.
Well, how about Blank from Hell thrillers? All the different thrillers where, like Unlawful Entry and Anthrax the Cradle, the crazy person from hell.
Oh, yeah, I love it. That's the shit that scares me is the crazy people, because I kind of have crazy people in my family. And, sometimes you'll hear them say something and you're just kind of like, oh, just kind of.
Yeah. So Misery was effective for you. So.
Yeah, it was. She was crazy, and just the way she would talk, like she's like one. Because I met people who are kind of religious, Puritan kind of people, like her fuddy duddy. Oh, they won't cuss or nothing, but they'll hold somebody captive and break their leg. Okay, but it's fine because they go to church on Sundays.
But she does it, she won't cuss. She said, "Oh, cock-a-doodle," and all like that. But at the end, when her father, she calls him a cocksucker.
This has been a great joy.
But thank you. And Akers, what's your name again?
Stacy.
Okay, where are you going to be, Stacy? Yeah,
of course.
And but thank you. And this has been really nice having you aboard, and you come up with some really good ones.
I was so nervous.
Also, I have an idea. If we ever do like the I Spit on Your Grave movies, I'm gonna see if I can find some calf fries.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Those Those are some good. Those are some good food.
Well,
They're
back when
bull
I used to do the
testicles.
show with the I'm going to mention her name because I'm not going to call her out, but when I used to do a show with her, but
Yes.
she used to do these on Sundays. She would cook something related to a horror film, and so I gave her some ideas, some stuff to cook, and one was a zucchini boat. You know, you're going to need a bigger zucchini boat. You know, from Jaws, but she would do movie related food, horror movie related food. You know, either as kind of like a sort of a joke title or something like that. Anyway, for I spit on your grave, I suggested, and she cooked them spiral cut hot dogs. Uh, and she cooked them too. She cooked spiral cut hot dogs. I spit on your
Well, what I
spiral.
could do is I could always go to one of them Asian restaurants to see if I could buy like a bull penis or something.
Oh my gosh.
But
Y'all got
yes,
a bull penis shack in the head? What?
yeah.
If not, there's a Mexican meat market in Hillsboro. I'm sure they might have one lying around or something.
But anyway, she cooked spiral cut hot dogs for I spit on your grave.
I don't know. I did that for movie night one time, and I thought the calf fries from Hype Millers, I thought it was cute. You know, it had a little calf fries and the gravy, and no one, well, they were freaked out by the movie, number one. They're, you know, but anyways. I like that movie, but I made the old man that used to own the video store mad in town because he hyped up the bathtub scene, and I said it was cool, but it looked like paint, and he got real offended by that.
It won't stop bleeding.
But it looked like paint, but he hyped it up, and I rented the tape, and I was like, it was cool, but it looked like paint.
Well, I guess when I first saw it, I saw it on VHS, and then to me it worked.
Well,
You know,
it
just,
freaked me out when I was a little kid seeing, because my parents had a copy and seeing the rape. I didn't like that, but when I was a little older and I rented it, the
and
blood looked like paint.
And what's her name that plays the lead girl in that? And what's the but anyway, she spends most of the movie naked, which is just, you know, great performance by her. And but the poster with the girl was holding a knife, you see the back, you see her back, you see that, you know, that poster for I Spit on Your Grave. That's Demi Moore. I bet you didn't know that. That's Demi Moore. Yeah.
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's Demi Moore on the poster. But yeah, that she was a model or something, and she posed for this shot. I don't even think she knew she was posing for, but that's Demi Moore in the poster for I Spit on Your Grave.
Well, yeah, just that's amazing. Just message me anytime. I'll be happy to join again.
Okay, yeah, and yeah, give that some thought. I think maybe that's where we'll lean with the next show is, and like I say, it'll be a couple of shows. We won't get to it in one show. Pick your favorite movie from the year you were born, and then just go from year by year to present day. And give that some thought, Brandon and Stacy. And yeah, but no, this has been a really good one. Thank you, everyone that has come in today. Thomas, thank you so much. Who else? We have anyone else that I think maybe it was just Thomas today, but thank you, Thomas, so much. And please hit that thumbs up and spread the word if you're enjoying what you're seeing. But yeah, thank you, Stacy and Brandon, once again.
If the Jehovah Witnesses can knock on my door at 6 a.m., you can send this video to people online.
But y'all, my pleasure. I've never been on one before. It felt like being on the radio, so kind of fun.
You get used to it after a while. I'm kind of used to it now.
Yeah, but y'all stick around. But I'm going to end the live broadcast, but I'm going to talk to you guys real quick here.
Okay.
But all right, and Thomas says he was glad to be here. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, everyone that's been watching. Please hit that thumbs up and come back soon because we'll be doing another show here soon. So thank you, everyone, and y'all have a great day and see y'all soon.